Hello, my name is Kheebab. In this video I'm playing a low level alt on Matheson with a pretty basic Reaver. The aim of this video is to show new pilots the first few unlocks you're going to want to grab and to give some tips to help you stay alive and enjoy the air game. For the more experienced pilots out there, I recommend trying the stock ESF challenge and seeing if you can improve your game. So in this first clip, I start attacking ground targets when I hear a scythe coming to the left. Turning to face the attacker, I'm already hovering so I can go straight into the reverse maneuver and avoid a lot of incoming fire. At this point, I don't want to take any more damage from infantry, so I fall back and turn again. I failed to reverse there, but I managed to make it out of the scythe's aim, and nobody important dies. The biggest benefit to these maneuvers is keeping yourself alive whilst being able to return fire on your target. Anyway, after repairing, I come back and find the enemy Sunday from another direction, just using the thermal vision to spot ground targets. I don't take any damage on that pass. I do a little barrel roll there to throw off that lock-on. It's the guy aiming at me that I'm trying to throw off. I haven't used my flares, so I can come back and put another clip of rockets into the Sunday. And I popped my flares just to, give immunity so that they can't lock onto me. Dodging around like this makes you less of a target of opportunity. What I mean by that is small arms fire, rockets and Dalton shots, maybe tank shells. People are less likely to fire them at you in the first place, and they're also less likely to hit you. So the NC have pushed up to this base. I'm gonna just lull pod a few infantry around here. It's quite useful to get used to turning a bit when you lull pod and corkscrewing the. You sort of end up corkscrewing the pods down onto the ground. Just helps to keep you moving. I spot this scythe and immediately treat him as a priority target. The way that target selection works for me anyway is it's based on how much of a threat they are. So the biggest threat is always going to be enemy ESF. He's just flying evasively here and quite slow, so I don't speed up. I stay kind of slow. I don't really want to risk a collision with this other friendly Reaver, and the scythe's obviously he's not going to get away. So I'm just popping in and out to check whether I've got my flares up or not. And it's time to clean up some of these tanks. I do like to use the rotary on tanks and ground vehicles. The rotary has a faster projectile speed. Obviously, if you can get rockets in the arse of a tank, it's going to be it's the priority to get the rockets off. Ah yeah, so I spot this Liberator here, and he's a bit of a problem. So what I'm doing here is using my afterburner to pull myself out of the nose gun, and when he bellies up, I also just use the afterburner to quickly get out of the way of the Dalton so he can't shoot me with that. And he actually pulls back, he doesn't want to stay. That means that I get to clean up quite a few infantry there with a clip of rockets. That was a pretty tasty one. So the Lib is my primary target just because it represents the biggest threat at the moment. It's always a good idea when you're attacking a Lib to prepare to move away. If you start hearing Daltons whistling past you, then you want to change your position. You can either use the spacebar and the control bar to change your altitude and throw off the gunner that way, or you can just simply turn away and get out of there. It is very useful to have an altitude advantage on the Liberator. Being above them, I mean that's the best place to be. Okay, so I'm flying back into the fight. I'm using scenery here to block the line of sight to infantry, because there's a few infantry over there with lock-on rockets. Obviously that scythe was a bit overextended, so he didn't really stand much of a chance. I'm assisting on any targets that have been spotted, and I take a bit of flak and I notice being locked as well. So I pop my flares, and here's a corkscrew that I was talking about earlier. If you're being attacked by flak, then you need to keep moving, and you can keep your aim on target and do damage if you do a little sort of loop like that, and your rockets will end up coming in a corkscrew. It's actually a lot easier than it looks. I mean, you just have to practice it and keep the crosshair on target. So I was afterburning while I flew away there to outrun a rocket that was chasing me, because they do just explode after a certain range, and I didn't return to the fight until my flares are back up again. It's quite important to have your flares up. You can afford to absorb one rocket, as long as it's only one. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with the commentary for this video. There's a few more minutes of footage to play out, so I'm just going to let it run. If you have any questions, comments or suggestions, then please leave them in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you.
Leave the restricted area immediately.
Eyes on an enemy gunship. Eyes on enemy aircraft.